Hi guys, this is Project Life week 30, and while I'm doing my Project Life today, I wanted to show you a few ways that you can use up some of the packaging that comes in your kits. I feel like there's an awful lot of packaging in the products that we use, so it would be great to find a few ways to use those up rather than just throwing them away. I think the first and probably easiest way to do that is to use some of the packaging, the pre-printed packaging, as cards for your Project Life or any other project really. Some of these packages have really beautiful designs on them. This one here is a really lovely wood grain, so I'm just going to trim that out to a 4x6 card and I can use that down the bottom here. And I've just spied this backing sheet from these enamel dots from Pink Fresh and have a quick measure up, and if I trim the top of it, it is the perfect 3x4 card with this really gorgeous grey diagonal stripe. So don't forget to look at the packaging and see whether you can cut it apart and use it as a card. Now I decided to use this sort of cellophane plasticky packaging to make a little pocket, a little shaker pocket. I find that's the easiest way to do things. Rather than adding pieces to your actual pocket page, I like making shaker pockets, shaker cards to stick into the pocket. So I just trimmed that down and I will finish that up later on. And so you can see all I need now is just one more card up the top. So I have picked this check pattern. It's a really pale blue, it's really beautiful. So the kit I'm using today, I never mentioned before, was the scrapbook kit, the August scrapbook kit from Citrus Twist. So that is the basics of my page all done. Now lots of kits have these really pretty glassine bags that little bits and pieces come in, like this one, and they are perfect. The perfect little pocket envelope sort of thing for adding tags and hidden journaling. So that's what I'm going to use this one for. I'm just sticking my photo down on top of it and then I can stick the whole thing onto the card. And I think there's got to be a piece here in this ephemera pack that I can use to put my journaling on. So I'm just going through all of those. The first lot were kind of embossed, so they were too pretty to use really. And the second lot, there's some really fun little pieces in there, so I'm definitely going to use some of those. This green tag is going to be perfect for that, so I'm going to slip that into the glassine bag and I can add my journaling to that later. These photos were of the blood moon that we had last month, and I got up very early in the morning and took some photos as that was happening. So these little glittery stars are perfect for that. And while I've got the sticker sheet out, I'm going to add one of these foam banners to my sunrise picture as well. And I also decided that I would have a go and see whether this cute sticker fits on the photo of Lily. And it does, it only just fits, but I really love the way the pink brings out some of the pinks in my other photos. So I'm adding that one there. I added my photo to the card that I cut out and I want to do a little bit of stamping on it. My only suggestion with using packaging as cards is to be careful or see if you can test how the stamps, how the ink works on them. This one had a slightly slick surface, so I used a Stays-On ink and I want to use this textural stamp underneath it. So I'm going to add it with a dye ink really carefully. Now, like I said, it has a slick surface, so this one is going to take quite a while to dry. I need to be very careful not to smudge it. Another great use for packaging is to work out the placement of things. So I'm just going to use one of these little leftover pieces of plastic here and stamp one of my stamps on it, and I'm going to use Stays-On. That works really well to stamp onto plastic like that, and that way I can work out whereabouts on my photo I want to stamp it. So you can see it's really easy to move it around and work out the right placement before you go ahead and commit to stamping on a photo. Usually have no problem stamping on photos with just my usual Memento ink, but since I had my Stays-On ink out, I decided to go ahead and use that anyway. I'm going to stick down this die cut, and there again you see the packaging is useful for keeping that glue off my workspace. That's that card all finished. and I had this little banner that came out of that die cut pack. I want to add it in front of the cute sticker, but the tail was just a little bit long, so I trimmed that down, and then I can stick that on there. Now I'm going to work on my little shaker pocket. It's not going to end up being a shaker pocket, it's just going to be a clear pocket. You could totally add sequins or glitter or anything else you wanted to it, but all I'm going to do is just stitch around the outside of it with my sewing machine and kind of make like a clear journaling card. I really like the way it peeks through to the other page. Now for my title card, I'm going to use this piece of vintage ribbon that was in the kit, and I just want to add something a little bit extra to it. So I'm wondering what I can do with some of this plastic packaging. Now I did try to trim it with my paper trimmer, which didn't work so great, so I'm going back to scissors. And I just want to trim out almost like a little ribbon of cellophane. So you can see I just folded it over before I trimmed it, and it made it really easy to cut a really long strip. I just ran that through my sewing machine, and now I'm pulling the threads, pulling the top thread just to ruffle it up a little bit to create this cellophane ruffle. It does take a little bit of time, a little bit of finessing to get it even, but once I've done that, I'm going to add a piece of double-sided tape to my card, and then I can stick that along in a straight line. Luckily those grid lines make it really easy to get things straight. And then all I need to do is just trim off the ends. It's quite hard to see here on camera, but in real life it just gives it a really pretty sparkle. And on top of that, I just added my piece of ribbon, and I attached that with my sewing machine. I'm going to add my date stamping to this label and attach that to the bottom of my card. And here's another great use for the packaging as a mask for my stamping. Now I needed some alphas for my title card. There were none in the actual scrapbook kit, and the yellow ones from the Pocket Life kit weren't really ideal for this page, so I went and grabbed these chipboard alphas from a previous kit just to spell out my title. They're white and gold, so very pretty, and with that I can call this spread all done. I'm really pleased with how this week turned out, and I hope you found a few tips for using up some of the packaging that comes in your kits. If you've got any more tips, don't forget to leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!